this Upanishad, the Kathopanisad, falls in this body of knowledge called the Veda. Veda is a revelation. The word Veda comes from the root vid, to know. So Veda refers to knowledge. So it's a body of knowledge. It's a body of knowledge which is not discovered as we normally understand. Different disciplines of knowledge we have, which are researched into, looked into, and arrived at. Many postulates are made, many abstractions are done, many experimentations are done through microscopes and telescopes and whatnot, and we have different disciplines of knowledge. They are discovered. They are called discoveries, isn't it? Because it is with the using the mind, the intellect, and our capacities for reasoning, abstraction, deduction, postulates, we finally arrive at certain conclusions about the world. And this is something humanity has been doing for thousands of years. They come under different disciplines of knowledge. When we talk about Veda, it doesn't fall under a discipline of knowledge discovered by human beings. Then what is this? These are called revelations. Revelations come under a different category than the different sciences, disciplines of knowledge. The difference is that the various disciplines of knowledge have a beginning point of learning, for which you require a cognition. And the cognition are your eyes, perception. Where perception forms the prime tool to see something, then you want to know what you are seeing, You want to understand what you see. Like you see a tree, you see the leaf, you take the leaf, this is what it is. What is this? Why is it like this? Why is it green color? What are these things sticking out, these lines inside the leaf? So perception forms a very strong tool that takes you deeper into the workings of what you perceive. So perception is a means of knowledge. But there are different, knowledge systems of the universe which human beings don't have not been given the gift to perceive through the naked eyes, but they exist. Oh, are there things like that? Yes. We hear of them. We hear of things like heaven, hell, merit, demerit. What is all this? Where do you find them? Under which tree is a merit sitting, We are not going to be able to perceive, but they exist. So this, how can we find out? Do we need to research? Do we need some tools? How are we going to access? We have no access. The human beings have no access. the only access to knowledge we have is the primary tool is perception. Secondary tool is inference. Then third tool is postulate. Like that we have different tools, but beginning point is perception. So, forms of knowledge in the universe, which is beyond human perception, but they influence human life, and they are important for us to know what they are about. How will you find them out? Some of it, I cannot say all of it, some of that is given to humanity, is given by omniscience, by the being of all knowledge, omniscience. This is given. What is given? Knowledge which is not in the scope of perception, and hence we cannot know, but they influence our lives, and so the divinity has revealed this knowledge to us. Now you understand the difference between discovering knowledge and a revelation. When it is revealed, you don't do any work. You are just a recipient. When you are equipped to receive, you receive. Veda are called scriptures because they are revelations. You do not call physics scripture. You do not call chemistry a scripture. Scripture is that knowledge which is revealed. If this we understand, when was this knowledge revealed? Was it revealed in the 16th century? No. A law is discovered in the 18th century by so and so, or 16th century is discovered, depending on who is the discoverer when he lived. But a revelation is something that has come to us from the beginning of creation. It is knowledge that has been revealed to very exalted beings, human beings, who had a mind, an intellect, a body that could receive and hold this revelation. Such beings, human beings, were called sages. Rishi is the Sanskritam word for that, or sages, and they received this knowledge from the omniscient being. So the receivers were sages, and this knowledge called Veda are revelations. These revelations were later on, for India later on means thousands of years ago. It's still thousands of years ago. Later on, was received by sage Vyasa, who then compiled it in 4 portions. He compiled it in a way where certain mantras, certain words, expressions that were in praise of the deities, they were classified as Rig Veda. thousands of mantras, thousands. There were other mantras that were more ritualistic, that gave some esoteric means, some tools with the fire ritual in order to fulfill certain desires, certain wishes for a human being. So these mystical processes called fire rituals were given, and that came under another category called Yajur Veda. I will put these words in the group so that you can have them in your notes. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda. There were other mantras which had musical notes, similar to the Rig Veda, but with different tones, different tones. So all the 8 tones that are there, they had those tones, and very beautiful. Even today, when people recite among the Vedas, when they recite the Sama Veda, this third variety, it is just stunning. It's absolutely stunning. So that third type is called Sama Veda. And the fourth is Atharva Veda. And this fourth type had many other tools of medicine and astrology, and we call these, Gupta Shastram. We call these certain other mystical, secretive practices. So they came under Atharva Veda. So we have these 4 Vedas now, so that one can handle them, manage them. There's so much knowledge. We think we are more sophisticated now, but the sages of the yore, their capacity to take in and retain and further articulate, reproduce, it is unfathomable for us. So having divided this 4, sage Vyasa handed over, he gave these revelations in 4 components to 4 disciples. So each disciple became the recipient from his guru, and then what did he do? He gave to his disciple, who became the recipient from his guru and gave to his disciple. And that one gave to his disciple, who gave to her disciple, who gave to his disciple, and her disciple, and his disciple. Until, how long did this go on, Ammaji? Until the current context where you are the recipient from a teacher who received this knowledge from her teacher, who had received the knowledge from his teacher, who had received the knowledge from her teacher, and there we go. This is called an unbroken guru-disciple lineage. Guru-disciple lineage, which, what is amazing to recognize is, it used to be purely an oral lineage. Oral lineage means we didn't have digital formats. We didn't even have paper those days. There was no writing. It was all taking in and giving out. So a life that received the knowledge was the life that taught. That's all they could do, receive and give. Receive, and there was no other time to do anything else. Such people had to be supported by society because they could not go, do a weekend class and weekday class the way we handle things. This was their life, whole life. and these people were called Brahmanas. They held these teachings, they gave these teachings, and very, very beautifully we have this guru-disciple lineage coming down from immemorial times, really. In this category of guru-disciple lineage, we have therefore 4 Vedas, okay? Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. Each Veda, based on what it teaches, has 2 components. One that forms 80% or more of the content, and the other that forms 20% or less of the content of every Veda, each of the 4. So this component, or let's call it section, each Veda has 2 sections. In Sanskritam, the section is called Kanda. Kanda. I'll give you these words. Kanda. So we have 2 sections. The first section, which is the bulk, is called Karma Kanda. Karma. It deals with karma. Karma, 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 karma. Complete karma. The second section is called Jnana Kanda, which deals with knowledge. The metaphysics of life. All that you want to know about you, the world, and the divine, knowledge forms the second section of each Veda. Okay? Karma section and knowledge section. While karma section gives us rituals, fire rituals, mystical fire rituals, guiding us, helping us, supporting our wishes and desires and ambitions and greed, everything. It's just whatever a human being thinks in human thoughts for human achievements, you want a support, a support where you cannot yourself do. You want more support from nature, from creation. These rituals, specific rituals, guide you to specific ends. Like, it's not unknown in India, a fire ritual called Kariri Yaga, where if there is drought, there is no rain, people do this fire ritual as a community. For so long, there are certain stipulations, and then at the end of it, you see rains come. I have experienced this in Himalayas. The villagers know what to do. The villagers, they invoke. So we have different rituals for different purposes. If someone has not been able to conceive, have a progeny, we have a ritual, a fire ritual that blesses the couple with progeny. It's called Putra Kameshti Yaga. So different rituals for different ends that exist in these Vedas. The second section deals with knowledge. And that portion is called Upanishad. That's the portion called Upanishad. Now you know where we are headed. Okay? And there are many, many Upanishads. Wherever a group of mantras give a message of oneness, that is called an Upanishad. Okay? So there are many, many Upanishads in the 4 Vedas. I think they talk about 180 some plus. As of today, they have identified about 180 or so Upanishads. I'm not very sure of the exact number. And in these Upanishads from original Veda, there was a great reformer, saint, philosopher, scholar who lived 1,000 years ago, who attained Samadhi very young, when he was 32 years of age. But he really brought an amazing revival or revolution. He was a spiritual revolutionary those days, where he brought forth the teachings of the Upanishads through his writings in Sanskritam. He gave commentaries, and he picked 10 Upanishads for his work. 10 Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and another text called Brahma Sutras. He gave commentary, beautiful, eloquent, deep commentary, which forms the basis for Vedanta study all over India, in traditional ashrams, teaching centers. We are supposed to learn these 10 Upanishads with the commentary from that sage. His name is Adi Shankaracharya.